Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm in Oceanport, New Jersey again, and I'm here at a friend from my hockey team, well, my old hockey team. I retired from adult hockey about 6 months ago. I miss playing, but the construction life is just a little too much on my body. Anyhow, I'm here in Oceanport, and we'll be coming out of this main breaker panel on the inside of the house here. And what I plan on doing is we're wiring a hot tub. It's in the background there, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna come out of the panel down at the bottom here, and I'm gonna try to run along the foundation here after I move out all this shit out of the way. We're gonna go right underneath the foundation, right underneath this door, 3/4 inch PVC conduit. When we get down to the chimney, we'll do a 90-degree PVC bend, and then to keep it nice and neat along this wall, we'll do an LB right there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here going across this whatever that access panel is for. I'm not exactly sure, but hopefully we can come into this side of the hot tub, or maybe over here, because the wiring control panel is here on this side. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to undo the screws for this hot tub and check out what the wiring box is looking like, and what we need to do, and whether or not we can snake across through the inside of the hot tub to our control box. So thanks for being here. If you haven't already liked this video, please do that. Get subscribed, hit that notification bell, so when I put out new content, you'll know about it. Thanks. All right, so I got that cover off, and here's the wiring box. And so this was previously hooked up. This is actually 1/2 inch. I don't know how they squeezed all that in there. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. We got 2 8s. Oh, those are 10s, really? What the fuck? Usually this has a cover on it. Want to see some shoddy workmanship? How about this? Does that look safe to you? Yeah, everything's grounded, don't worry. Everything's grounded, that's good. Don't sweat it. Look at this one. That grounded connection, the equipment grounding conductor, is what saves your ass should the current be going someplace onto a grounded part that you're sitting in. It could kill you. That's why terminating and grounding is so important. Being an electrician, do it right. Take your time, check your connections twice, 3 times, whatever you got to do. There's no excuse for that right there. Now, that might have come from the factory, that might have gotten loose over time. I don't know the whole story. All I know is that it was loose, and when that's loose, it's not connected to ground, okay? There's no equipment grounding connection, and there's no way to clear a fault if you don't have a solid connection back to the source. So we'll correct that. I just wanted to show that to you. So on my jobs, I don't mind moving stuff out of the way of where I'm going to be working. Most of the time, my customers, they have no idea what I'm going to be doing anyway. They'll ask me and I'll give them a brief explanation, but I usually look at me like I got 2 heads. So I'll move all the stuff out of the way, but don't expect me to put it back when I'm done. All right, so here's the panel that we're coming out of. I haven't even opened it up yet. I came by to look at this job a couple of weeks ago, and this is the first time I got in here. I'm gonna guess this is from the 70s. This is terrible because you got the generator breaker, it's on. What the fuck? Whoever put this in here. And you can see, I don't know what the fuck's going on there, so try not to mess with that too much. When raceways aren't sealed, cold air will meet warm air, forming condensation and create rust inside the panel. Make sure you seal that conduit raceway. This goes out right there. See that piece of PVC? That connector right there, that goes outside someplace. We'll figure out where that is. This orange cable, this is for the generator panel. But I know on the outside that that's on. It's a male. It's an inlet box, not an outlet box. So this is supposed to be off when the main is on. So if you go outside there right now and touch the male end, and I'll show you in a minute, you get shocked to hell, you probably die. So turn that off. Obviously we got a double tapped Neutral right there, that's not good. It looks like there might be a sub panel someplace. I'd imagine that's what that is. Maybe this is old. It's QO, but definitely ready for an upgrade. I feel like it's thinner than the old ones too. It should be 14.5 inches across. I feel like it's smaller than that. And it is, because there's the stud right there. So that's strange. Alright, so I'm going to do a pilot hole. Obviously this is for that inlet. It's off. This is a grounding connection of sorts. So I'm going to drill my hole, a pilot hole, right around here, around the same height as the inlet box. And that'll give me enough room to come in with some flexible conduit from the outside, from the LB. So let's just do a pilot hole right here. Let's see where we come out. Alright, so I'm right there. So my little pilot hole. This is perfect. So what I'll do is I'll make a hole big enough here with a hole saw for the 3/4 inch LB. Then we'll transition from the LB to flexible for our connector inside to the main panel. And we'll continue our run down along the foundation like I told you I would. This is the M12 PVC shears. I love this tool. It makes cutting PVC so much nicer than, say, a Sawzall. And you can see how quickly you can make the cut that you need. It's a fantastic tool. For this whole run, I use 3/4 inch PVC. That's enough to run. I'm running a set of 10 wires, a set of 12 wires, a neutral wire, and an equipment ground in this 3/4 inch conduit. So the code tells me that I can run as many circuits as I can fit inside that conduit. Obviously there's a limit to the size of the conductors that you're running, but if you got 6 circuits in one PVC raceway or EMT raceway or any kind of raceway, you just need to have one equipment grounding conductor. And so wherever those conductors go from point to point, box to box, you just need to have an equipment grounding conductor large enough for the largest set of hot conductors that you're running through that conduit. This is my Greenlee PVC oven. It's almost 10 years old now, and so a couple weeks ago I think I mentioned that the on-off switch broke. Some of the terminals just came undone, so I kind of bootlegged it without the switch. So now when you plug it in, it warms up right away. It's a fantastic tool. 3/4 inch PVC, it's a dream. The larger the conduit, the more difficult it is to get the exact bend that you want on the first time. And of course, you don't want to waste the PVC. Right now especially, it's expensive, more expensive than it's ever been. Crazy. But you'll see here, I just make this, I put the one end into the LB, and the other end I just make my 90, and I'm going to hold it there for a few minutes until it cools down and it molds into the position that I want. Now unfortunately, where the 90 is right there, you'll see it kind of dips down, then comes back up. I didn't realize that until I was done with it. I'm using a 3/16 pilot bit, and I'm using 1.25" Tapcon screws right through the PVC straps and attached right to this foundation here. Of course, everything's glued and strapped, and with 3/4 inch PVC, you need to have a strap every 36 inches. You really can't make out in this video, but I am using my laser level, and there's a green line just above the top of where those straps are. So I use that line to drill a couple pilot holes and then set my straps in place before attaching it with the Tapcon screws. So it was as level as possible. It worked out very well, but you can't see the green line on the video, unfortunately. So I had to mute the audio here because I was listening to some music and Stevie Wonder's playing in the background, and I really don't want to get a strike, a copyright strike. But you'll notice right there, when they were soldering their lines right on the cable, obviously everything works, but it really made me mad that all these loose wires and everything was around this area. Just do the job right the first time, man. Stop messing around. Do it like you mean it. Be a professional, and that's basically what I'm saying here. But I edited it out because Stevie Wonder was playing too loud. So I'm working, and I believe I'm coming up on lunchtime here, but what I'm installing here is a transition from the rigid PVC to what's known as a flexible non-metallic seal-tight product. And I like to use the non-metallic seal-tight because it's flexible, and I'm going to be able to go right into the control box from the rigid here. You'll see coming up shortly. So now that 95% of my Conduit raceway is in place, I'm using my flexible nylon Milwaukee fishing tool. I guess that's what you call it. And it works really nice going through this PVC. And I'm attaching my wires here through this LB. And then the plan is to run my wires long enough to reach the panel in the back there. And then coming back here, I'm going to have to cut them and fish them through by hand from this LB to where the jacuzzi is, and where we're going to transition from the rigid PVC to the flexible non-metallic seal conduit. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm running two number 10s, two number 12s, a number 10 equipment grounding conductor, and a number 12 neutral conductor, because that's what the hot tub requires. All right, so this is a difficult part here, especially when you're working by yourself. I'm going to push it through by hand, but the wire likes to get kinked up. Good thing I can edit all that so you don't see that. And now here comes the wire through the point where it's going to transition to the flex. So here I'm just cutting a rough estimate size of this flexible seal tight, and then once I know exactly where it's going to go and how it's going to go in, I'll make a more accurate cut. Once it's cut the size, I'm able to push the conductors through the seal tight, and then you'll see in a moment here where I'll twist the seal tight into the connector where the transition piece is. So keep the tape on there and sleeve the wires through. So here's what I'm talking about. These connectors, it's just lefty loosey, righty tighty. So I'm wrapping this conduit into the connector to make a nice tight fit. And then I'll come back, and as you can see here, when it's real tight to the hot tub, I used a 1-hole heavy wall 3/4 inch strap. So it's not a PVC strap. I guess technically you might say, hey, you can't use that. You got to use a PVC strap. So I use these heavy wall straps because they got 1 hole wherever I think is necessary for a nice installation. And so this is the part I'm talking about right here where I had to use my 3-inch cutoff tool to make my way to get in through the enclosure to obviously to the board here. And 3/4 inch knockout was already there, so I'm using 3/4 inch conduit, so the connector should fit right in. Push your conductors through, attach your connector into the enclosure, and now you come back and you slide the lock nut over the conductors and tighten it down. Again, I'm missing the cover for this control box, which is kind of crazy because there's water. Right? You got water, you got electricity, and you got a missing cover. I don't know. It's not mine. I let the customer know about it, and that was the best I could do. So this control box is really a mess. These connectors, I am not a fan of these connectors. These are like backstab receptacle connectors here. I like when there's terminals and a flathead screwdriver or a Phillips drive, but these are spring activated. And so I come across this once in a while, and it's such a pain in the ass I got to use this little cabinet screwdriver that I have for doing like thermostats to stick in there and open up the spring so that I can slip the conductors in there. But the first thing I got to do is take the old ones out. And as you can see, I'm struggling a little bit. It took me a while to figure out how these springs were working. I did this on a hot tub a couple summers ago, maybe last summer. It was the house where I did that 200 amp mass service. We also did a hot tub there, but I don't think I did a video for the hot tub. And the reason why I cut the wires out and left them in the terminals here, so I know where the new wires that I run go to. That seems like such a simple thing to do, but a lot of guys don't do that, and then later on you don't know where the wires go, or where you land them on the terminals here. And it was especially difficult because I didn't have the cover, and on the cover of this control box is the wiring diagram, which should answer a lot of questions. But you'll see soon a lot of questions get answered on this job when I find out that this hot tub, which I thought was just bought somewhere and dropped off and I'm here to hook it up, was actually in the backyard and the owners prior to moving it to the side of the house, which nobody told me. I figured that out later. You'll see coming up in the video. So back at the panel here, I'm on the other side of where I entered with that LB and drilled that pilot hole previously. So I'm putting on a 90-degree non-metallic flexible conduit, seal tight connector here, and I'm going to wrap it around this male adapter here. Come back and tighten it here in a moment. But basically, I need to use this flex like this so I can come into the bottom of that panel without installing a junction box. I suppose I could have put a junction box in there and then nippled up into the top of the panel. But I chose to do it like this. I don't know. I was in this mood, so that's why I did this. And of course, inside an old panel like this with that many circuits, you're limited to where you can come in anyhow. So I did have to make a 90-degree turn here, and then I put a straight conductor on the other side of the flexible seal tight and came up into the bottom of the panel there. Put my lock nut on, and there's all my conductors. Okay, so there's something I just noticed here, and nobody told me this. I'm not sure why, but so you see this piece of PVC going up here and across the ceiling? It looks pretty good. Goes down to the basement. But on this panel here, in the Legend, it's labeled hot tub. So it's labeled hot tubs. What does that mean? That means there used to be a hot tub here. So I go around back of the house to see if there was any tracing of an old hot tub. Sure enough, it's the same hot tub that I was just wired up. Used to be located on the other side of the house here. Go figure. Well, I didn't know that, and here I am, just not sure because there's no cover for the wiring compartment. And I was like, is this a 2-pole 20 or is this 120? Because it was an orange conductor. Used an orange and brown to get the 240 volt, right? So this is it. This is the old disconnect right here. And these are the exact same wires that we disconnected. So I guess I'll come back here to disconnect this momentarily. And the room that I thought I didn't have in my service panel, I thought I was gonna have to double up some circuits. It turns out I can just disconnect the old 50 amp breaker to put my GFCI breakers in. Then it'll be full of circuit breakers without doubling up any circuits or using any tandems or any funny business like that. So obviously this hot tub used to be here, and they just finished this patio, which is really, really nice. I like this. I'm assuming this is some kind of a granite. Very, very nice spot here. And they moved it over to here. Duh. Guys, I always do my best to have a complete video, but something happened to the footage here I recorded. I don't know. I can't find it. It's not on my GoPro. I know I went from one SD drive to another SD drive right around this time. I'm not sure what happened to the footage here, but this is the last segment of footage from this job. So what I wound up doing was taking the 2-pole 50 out from the old hot tub circuit that was there and put in a double pole 30. And then on the other side, there's 2 openings right there on the left-hand side, and that's where I put my double pole 20. Both of them QO GFCI circuit breakers. The people were very happy with the work. I got paid, and I believe they've been in the tub already, so everything works well. But unfortunately, this is where the video ends.